Hi everyone, I'm Jim Benson from Personal Kanban and Modus Institute. I'm here with Tony Ann DeMaria Berry and Dave Pryor, and this is another episode of Kanbanology, where we discuss how we use Kanban, how we use Personal Kanban, and what comes next. So, Dave, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And so, just very quickly, right off the bat, uh, when you started using Personal Kanban, what was it that attracted you? How did you come to it?
I gave up on Inbox Zero because I couldn't do that, and getting things done was making me very depressed because I just had hundreds of things in my list, and I
Okay.
needed something that I could do. And I also wanted to learn about Kanban. I didn't have a Kanban project that I could work on. So what I did was I asked another guy that I worked with, Brian Bizzuto, to be my coach, and I started to do experiments. So each week I tried something different, and I did it for I think 3 months, and I blogged about the whole thing. And Brian's job was basically to not let me cheat or to call me out on stuff and to give me different things to think about as I was working on these experiments. So I was trying a lot of different things. I wanted to become better at actually getting the next day all the time, which was what I was always doing. Um, and it ended up not being about getting any work. I mean, I got a lot done, but that wasn't where it ended up for me. It ended up being something completely different.
Okay.
And that
Tony?
it ended up being something completely different. So it wasn't just about getting work done. What was it?
It became not about that at all. That was like a byproduct. What happened was there were two significant things. One is, and this is still the way why I think it's so valuable, it became like this meta level approach to why am I making the choices I'm making? What do those mean? Why am I doing things? And why am I working the way I'm working? Um, that was huge because it became like a study of my own work habits, and continues to be something that's very interesting to me because it's sort of like hacking yourself to get better at doing stuff. But the thing that Bizzuto asked me to do that really changed the way I look at work completely was he wanted me to do this happiness tool. So like polls you periodically, what are you doing, how do you feel about it? And it's a really stupid tool. But I had to do it every day for like 3 months and get all these reports about it. And the thing that I realized was I feel totally overburdened by the amount of work that I have to do. And I complain about it, but all the stuff that I have to do is awesome stuff that I love doing. And it made me much more aware of not just how I was working, but that I'm actually really happy with all the stuff that I was doing. So I came out of it feeling a lot more joyful and grateful for the things that I have to do than I did before I started.
I appreciate you covering how it does function as a metacognitive tool. You're learning about how you work. You're learning about how you're learning. And I likewise appreciate that you're using the personal Kanban as a lab.
Yeah.
Show you things, to reveal things about what is making you happy. Not just how am I working, but is the work that I'm doing fulfilling me? And if it's not, then you can address that.
Yeah. Yeah, like what things are more fulfilling to me than others? Why? Because what I found was I had a list of stuff that I have to do every day to keep myself sane, and that's all the stuff that I didn't do. I would just work all the time, and then I'd be miserable. If I don't do these other things, even though they seem trivial, I'm not as good at the other stuff, and I'm not happy. So that was like a big epiphany for me, which I wasn't expecting.
So when you went, you took this one step further and actually started to teach people about Personal Kanban and how to do it. And when you did that, you wore a T-shirt. Can you talk about that T-shirt and why you took the trouble not only to envision it, but to go out and make it and wear it?
So I gave a talk two summers ago in Austin at the second Digital Project Management Conference, and the talk was about Personal Kanban. And the T-shirt says "I suck at Personal Kanban," and the whole point, and that was the title of my talk as well. And the whole point was, it's fine that I'm bad at it. I mean, I try to be disciplined about it. I'm never going to be as good as I want to be. But I was trying to share with these people that that's not the thing that matters. It's not about getting the stuff done. It's about learning about the choices you're making and learning about being more mindful of what you're doing and more aware of, I'm choosing to do this over something else. Not because I know I spend a lot of time when I'm doing anything thinking about all the stuff I'm not doing. And to be more mindful of the fact that, you know what, I have a lot of stuff. I'm going to choose to do this thing because I think it's the most important thing to do right now. And I feel good about the work that I do, but I don't feel like I'm good at personal Kanban, but I don't think that that's the thing that matters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at learning about making choices. I'm good. It's making me more aware and more mindful of how I work, and that's why I think it's so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
If I got all the things across the board, that would be awesome, but then that's not the goal anymore.
There was a meme at the beginning of the Kanban movement that said that the goal of the Kanban is to make the Kanban not necessary. And basically, I think that the moment that you reach that is the moment you're incredibly bored.
Or you're dead.
With groups, with teams, at work and at home, when you've been using the boards, is there a story that sticks out for you as one that was both kind of surprising and uplifting, or hopefully surprising?
I have two, so I'll tell the first one, then if there's time, I'll tell the second one. So I taught Kanban to a troop of Girl Scouts, and that was an amazing experience because, one, I learned that you don't have to teach kids to take care of each other and to trust each other. They just do that. So they haven't been taught that, like the waterfall stuff, like you're idiots, I have to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they just trusted it. And the neatest thing that happened was in the middle of the morning, they're young girls, so you have to put things like eat food, go to the bathroom, drink water. And this one girl, they're all doing different activities, and she stops and she goes, "I'm starving to death!" And all the girls stopped what they were doing, ran over, and swarmed to help her finish her tasks, because that was what was keeping them from lunch. And like nobody said anything, they just helped each other, and I thought that was a really amazing thing. The other, can I tell the other story? Yeah. Okay, so I'm home one day, and we use Kanban at home. My daughter's homeschooled. My wife calls me, and she's like, "You have to tell Katie she's wrong." I'm like, "What happened?" I look at the board. There's 3 things in the doing column and like 10 things in the backlog. And the thing that my daughter wanted to do is like the 3rd or 4th thing down in the backlog, and my wife says, "She keeps moving these few things across the top and bringing new ones in to get down to the thing she wants to do. You've got to tell her she's got to clean out that whole doing column." I looked at my wife and I said, "Honey, you're wrong." And that was a really interesting moment in marriage agility for me. But the whip limit was 3. She was moving stuff across the board. She was doing what she was supposed to do. So that was kind of cool.
Now, so was that other thing that she wasn't doing just an icky task that she didn't want to do, or was it?
She had like math, and she didn't want to do math, so she just left that in the doing column. It was like half done, but there were a bunch of little things that she was moving across the top to get down to the thing that she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't really violating the rules because she was within the whip limit.
Yep.
It would have been nice if she got the math done, but she learned how to work the system. She was very mindful of her choices.
But then in the next Q replenishment meeting, all you're going to do is put in
math and science.
Math.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it all gets done eventually, but she wanted to motivate herself and reward herself ahead of time. So.
Okay.
Is she using a physical board, or are you able to check in online during the course of the day?
No, she has a physical board. For me, that's when I'm home and I work with my physical board, I'm very, very efficient at it. Mm-hmm. When I'm on the road, like now, and I'm using an online tool, I'm not as good about it. I'm not as aware of it. It's not in front of me. And I really wish I had a mobile solution that was like somebody walking beside me carrying a giant whiteboard. That would make my life a lot easier.
Yes. Your personal whiteboard lackey would be handy.
Exactly.
Visual radiator needs to radiate for it to be effective.
What's that?
Visual radiator needs to radiate for it to be effective.
Yeah, it has to be staring at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we have time for one more story or one more thing that you would want to talk about if you only had 7.5 or 8 minutes to tell somebody about about this. Is there anything that we haven't asked you that you'd want to add?
I guess the other thing that's happened for me is I became very aware of the guilt that I have of the stuff in the backlog. And you and I have talked about this before. Like, that stuff sits there, and it makes me feel bad about myself because I haven't done stuff, and it may not matter. But I guess that's something that I'm still working on trying to get my head around is how to let go of the stuff that's in there. I mean, I'm never going to do some of that stuff, but there's still this burden, this cognitive burden of it being there, and and I'm feeling bad because I didn't do it. And that is tricky, and I think it's hard for me to remember to focus on I am making a choice to do this thing.
Right.
And that is saying I'm not going to do this other stuff. That's hard. I think the fact that I'm bad at it is I'm giving myself permission to not be great at it. That's okay, because I'm still trying to get better.
And one of the ways that we found not to feel so bad is we've since renamed that first column instead of backlog or to do. Now we're options. So because options has an expiration date, whereas a backlog does not. And when we complete the tasks in the backlog, we feel guilty. We feel that we didn't do them. So by re-languaging it as options, you know, we pull the things that matter to us most. We still let our context dictate rather than the title of that column dictate.
Yeah.
Math can wait.
What are you going to do with math anyway? You could just call Troy and let him figure that stuff out.
Okay, so the hardest thing about a short interview is that there's always more to discuss, but that is all time we have.
But we come back at any point, especially
anytime.
Yeah, especially to hear more of your Girl Scout stories.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She's got tons of stories about it. So cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you also for the work that you do, and I really am on behalf of all of us who struggle with getting our stuff done. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so that's it for this episode of Kanbanology, and we'll see you next time.
Cool. Thanks for having me.